Hey, what's up? It's Valar. Hope everybody's doing awesome. Thank you so much for checking out the video. So today, Raid just launched on us the update 3.2. Some of this we knew about already, but there's a whole bunch of new champions, and I haven't read them at all yet. It's actually early in the morning, and I'm working from home today, so I had a chance to actually come in and do the video. So it's coming in hot. Who knows? I'm gonna guess it's gonna be within a week that we're getting this and early insight and update highlights. My first time reading any of this. I know there's new champions, a permanent extension of daily login. So once you've completed it, I think it's day 270. Now you just have the same rotation every 30 days of login rewards, which includes shards, chickens, books. I don't remember if it said books actually, but I know shards and chickens, energy, gems, all that stuff, and I think XP boosts were in there. And some QL improvements, which I believe is the more artifact space and more champion space. The artifact space, which is going from 700 to 1,000. I love that. Champion space getting an extra 100. Maybe it's not quite enough, but it's a move in the right direction. I actually think that's good. For me, I'm not complaining about it. I'm actually happy. Yeah, maybe we'll get more in the future, But had no idea we were going to get an onslaught of new champions that are coming out too. So kind of interesting. We knew about this Iron Brago that's the legendary fragment collector that's coming out here, but I have not read this guy's skills or any of these skills at all. So King Garog, Orcs attack champion, attack hits twice, 35% chance of stun on a single target, increases to 50% if the target's turn meter is equal to or below 50%. I mean, that's okay. He's got a 50-50 chance of doing a stun on his A1. Could be pretty useful, like an arena or even like a faction wars thing. I don't know if Orcs has like Valkyrie or something, or somewhere in Doom Tower where you just want to lock someone out there. Hack to bits. Attacks one enemy 4 times. Each crit has a 50% chance of decreasing the cooldown of Gore Mask by 1 turn, which you can book to a 3-turn cooldown. What is Gore Maker, not Gore Mask, sorry. Gore Mask is the rare champion. Gore Maker. AoE will ignore 20% of the target's defense, will ignore a further 5% for each buff on the target on a 3-turn cooldown. I mean, that's okay. I mean, it's an AoE that ignores defense on everybody. That's actually pretty cool. I kind of like that skill, actually. If you pair this with Helm Smasher and Savage, that could actually be pretty damn cool. War Machine. I still have to think of just War Machine from Iron Man every time a War Machine is in there. Increases this champion's speed by 6 and crit damage by 7 for each enemy this champion kills in a round. That's kind of cool. Stacks up to 30 speed plus 35% crit damage. Stacks will reset if the champion's killed. Okay, if they need to get revived, it's reset. Whenever an enemy and champion is revived, fills this champion's turn meter by 30% for each enemy revived. Then places increased attack and 30% increased damage on this champion, increased crit damage on this champion for 1 turn whenever an enemy is revived. Kind of interesting. I mean, I kind of like that mechanic, actually, the fact that the other team is doing a revive and he's getting some type of a self-buff from them doing something positive for themselves. A little bit interesting. I sort of feel like this guy should be an epic. Maybe I'm wrong, but the legendary status, I'm not quite sure. But the books are for... Yeah, this is kind of cool. I don't remember them actually putting the books in here before, but they did. It looks like it's a decent amount of books, though. 14 books, right? So 5 here. Yeah, 14 books. That's not the worst. I mean, it's pretty high, but it's not the worst in the world. Roxanne. I'm showing my old school here. All I can think of is the Police song where it's like, Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Now, I'm not going to do this, but there's a drinking game to that song where there's 2 teams. There's a drinking game, right? One team has Roxanne and one team has red light. Every time the guy says Roxanne, that team has to take a drink. Every time it says red light, that team has to take a drink. Like, you won't even make it through the chorus. Basically, he says it so much. Sting from the Police. Now I'm really dating myself. Okay, Chroma Shift. Half the raid audience is going to be like, who are those people? The other half knows exactly what I'm talking about. So, attacks one enemy has a 50% chance of filling this champion's turn meter by 10%. Also has a 50% chance of placing a perfect veil buff on this champion for 1 turn if the attack crits. Oh, okay, not bad. It places the perfect veil on them, so it's not a random perfect veil. It is an attack base. Okay, Jungle Ambush. This is like the Amazonian lizard person here. Fills this champ with turn meter. A lot of turn meter fill on her or him. I don't know if that's a her or him. We'll find out. I'm going to guess it's a her. But 75% chance of placing stun debuff on the target for 1 turn when attacking while under a veil or perfect veil. 75% chance. Oh, that's cool. 75% chance of placing sleep on the target for 1 turn when attacking with stun and a sleep. Kind of interesting. Places perfect veil on his champion for 2 turns after attacking without veil or perfect veil buff on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Kind of interesting. A stun and a sleep. I don't get the point of the sleep if you're putting a stun on them, because that will just go off. But okay, I mean, maybe it's sort of like you're going to get one or the other. And actually, it's a pretty good chance. It's buffed up to 100% on each. So unless I'm reading that wrong, I might be reading that wrong, but it just seems like the sleep is a little bit pointless with the stun if it's the same target. But maybe it's just so you at least land one of them. That's the only thing I can think of. While under veil or perfect veil, AoE, doing decreased defense and weaken. Wow, okay, it's another decreased defense and weaken champion. We're getting a lot of these decreased defense and weakens. Decreases the cooldown of jungle ambush by 2 turns. So single target stuns, right? With filling turn meter this is on a 4-turn cooldown. Okay, so the cooldown is actually a little bit higher on this. That's while under a veil or perfect veil. Okay, while not under a veil or perfect veil, only does the 1 hitter. Okay, 75% chance of placing. Okay, so it's a little RNG because it's random on the perfect veil, and then if it doesn't press the perfect veil and does this ability, this flicker step, decrease defense and weaken for 2 turns, and then perfect veil for 2 turns after attacking. So, but the decreased defense and weaken is only a single target if it's not under a perfect veil or veil. So actually, you want to pair this with Rector Drath, I believe, who's does a bunch of veils and stuff. Rector Drath and this person will be amazing, actually, now that I think about it. Places a block debuffs and a 25% strengthen buff on this champion for 1 turn, and 15% continuous heal buff on 2 turns for 2 turns whenever they receive a veil or perfect veil. Block debuffs, strengthen, and continuous heal. Wow. Okay, increase crit rate in Doom Tower by 23. This is actually, I'm pretty interested with this one. I really am. Kind of a cool kit there. Hopefully they do a 10x or something where it'd be worth it to pull for these. I'm sure they are going to, actually. Or if we have 2x Ancient coming this weekend, that would be amazing if we can actually get the 2x Ancient, and maybe I can get lucky and pull this person or pull one of these, because this one actually looks pretty cool and pretty different to me. So I'm actually, normally for a long time I wouldn't have been excited about new champions, but for the most part, every single one of these new champions, most of them, besides Pixney, I feel like they're actually pretty damn decent. And they seem like they'll be pretty fun. So Iron Brago is Spirit, Defense Orcs. This is going to be the Fragment Collector, so there's going to be a bunch of events coming up for him. 20% chance of decreasing duration of all buffs by 1 turn. That's okay. 30%. It's only a 1-hitter. That's kind of meh as A1. Fearless Charge. Increased defense on all allies for 3 turns. Then attacks 1 enemy, which books to... It doesn't say the cooldown here. Oh, it's weirdly in there. I can't even tell what it says. All right. This one's 6-turn cooldown on that one, I could say. I think this is a 4-turn cooldown, right? So maybe it's whatever. So it does increase defense, 75% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. So increase defense plus a stun instead of the target's under 2 or more buffs. Okay. Oh, it'll do it for 2 turns instead. A stun for 2 turns if they're under buffs. Interesting, actually. Interesting. I think he's actually pretty good. He looks like I want to try him and I'm going to go hardcore for him. AoE, 50% chance of placing Provoke, which you can book it to a 75 for 1 turn. It's AoE Provoke. Also does decrease attack on all enemies if Iron Brago is under an increased defense. Increases the defense of all allies by 10% of this champion's defense. That's cool. And increases ally defense in Doom Tower by 34%. Kind of interested to see how this guy works. All right, how many more we got? We got quite a few more. Oh my gosh. This is insane. Okay. All right, I'm going to go through these quickly because I don't want this video to be 28 minutes long on just champion reviews. So Melga Steer girdle. She's got a one hitter, 50% chance of removing one random debuff from a random ally. Okay. Places a shield buff on all allies equal to 20% of the champion's max HP for 2 turns. Also places continuous heal on allies for 2 turns. That's pretty cool, actually. On a 3-turn cooldown, increase the value of the shield. That's good. And she's spirit. She's dwarves. Could be really cool for faction wars. So it's super cool. We finally getting some new dwarves. They're not legendaries, but that's all right. She's actually easier to get. So, and then she's got a revive. Revives 2 random allies with 20% HP and turn meter. If you ascend her, which you will, revives 2 random allies with 20% HP and turn meter. Places a shield on the revived allies for 2 turns equal to 30% of their max HP. It's on a 5-turn cooldown. HP in all battles by 15. I mean, she seems like she'd be good to me. If you haven't have a miscreated monster, too, I'm wondering how that shield will actually do. It's 20%. What's her HP like, too? So she could, if you build her with a massive amount of HP, this actually seems like a really good ability to me. The shield ability there, so kind of excited for her. Definitely would be super useful for faction wars, because having a big shield on that boss would actually be very, very good, because that boss ignores defense and everything. So the fact that you can have extra shields on there would be really good. Chancellor Yasmin, Bannerlords. She's cute, actually. That's actually like the most realistic. One of the more realistic. They always look so realistic when you're actually on the champion, but when some of these things don't look that realistic. One hitter, that is lame as hell. Okay. One hitter places an extra hit if the target has no active buffs. Meh. That's pretty meh. Heals an ally by 40% of their max HP. Heals by 60% if the ally has 50% HP or less on a 2-turn cooldown. Okay, on a 2-turn cooldown when booked. That might be okay. It is their max HP, so that part kind of stinks, but it's only a 2-turn cooldown, so that actually is... She could be a really clutch healer. Has a 50% chance of removing all buffs from all... Wow, she's a debuff stripper here, too. Okay. Then places a sleep debuff for 1 turn on all enemies who have active buffs. What? All right. So she's going to try to do the debuff strip, and if she doesn't do it, she's going to land to sleep, is how I'm reading that. Like, because they have to have active buffs. If you want to remove all the buffs, it's a 75% chance on a 4-turn cooldown. So actually, I kind of like her too. I don't like her A1, but her A2 and her A3 are pretty good. Vogoth, this guy, Corpulent Cadaver or somebody already looks like him. Undead, Spirit, HP, 3-hitter, 30% chance of increasing the duration of 1 random debuff on the target for 1 turn as an A1. And he's an epic. It's like a mini Vizier right here, and he's Spirit. He's not as good as Vizier, but it's a 3... No, that actually... Wait a second. I think that actually is the same as Vizier's. I'm pretty sure... And that's an epic. 30% on each hit, right? But it's not every debuff. That's the difference, right? Vizier extends everything. This guy's 1 random debuff. But that's pretty good for an epic, actually. AoE, Provoke, which you can book up to 75% chance on all enemies for 1 turn. Also decrease attack for 2 turns on targets who receive the Provoke from this skill on a 3-turn cooldown. Not bad. Not bad at all, because he does a Provoke plus a decrease attack. That's really good. Whenever this champion's attacked, heals all allies by 50% of the damage received. Only heals by 25% from boss attacks. Wow, that is cool, actually. So, yeah, I like tanky things like this, where you build him like a huge meat shield, but you build him with tons of HP and everything, too. And then he's getting hit, and then your team's getting healed. So you're getting a really cool heal on his passive there. With no cooldown, it just automatically happens. So I'm kind of interested to see how this guy does too. Interested. Eerie Presence when attack places Leech on the attacker for 2 turns. If the attacker's under Provoke placed by this champion, also has a 75% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random skill on the attacker by 2 turns. Occurs once per... I don't know, but maybe I'm overselling it. These seem really, really good. Whoever's designing the champions now, I feel like these champions are upgrades actually now to things that exist in the game. This is actually... I want this guy. I want to try him out. Armina, stun on our A1. I'm going to try to go through here a little bit quicker. That's pretty good. 35% chance booked up to a 45%. Nice to have a kind of single target lockout. She looks like she looks pretty mean there. She looks like the kind of Michonne from The Walking Dead a little bit, but like a beefier version. Trampling Rampage, AoE, decreased defense for 2 turns, steals 7.5% of the turn meter from targets under decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. That's unique too. So it's a decreased defense AoE, but also steals turn meter. Pretty cool. I'm starting to like the stealing turn meter abilities too. So 7.5 from targets under that. So if you have 5 targets, you're going to get a pretty decent turn meter fill. And then Ear Splitter Bellow decreases turn meter of all allies by 20%, of all enemies, 75% chance of placing stun for 1 turn on enemies who have their turn meters fully depleted on a 3-turn cooldown. That's pretty cool too. Fills this champion's turn meter by 10% each time an enemy receives a stun debuff. All right. I mean, these require a hell of a lot of books, that's for sure. Look at this, though. That is a lot of books. 16 books. Whew. They are getting to have a lot of books that we need here. All right, let's keep going. Ursala the Mourner, not Ursaga Warcaller, but Ursala the Mourner. She has banner lords as well. 40% chance of decreasing turn meter by 10%. That's kind of okay. AoE, 74% chance decrease attack for 2 turns. Also places increase attack on all allies. So does decrease attack and increase attack at the same time. That's pretty cool. Revives all dead allies with 75% HP, then fills their turn meter by 50%. Also does increase defense and strengthen on all of them for 3 turns on a 5-turn cooldown. And speed and Doom Tower by 24%. Pretty good too. I mean, I really am impressed so far because I'm interested in almost every single one of these champions in some way. I'm not saying that you absolutely need them or the most god tier thing in the world, but they actually are fun and look like they will be cool to build. Like, it's actually exciting to go after them. So in that way, they're doing a good job. Anyway, piercing this guy, Annex, 2-hitter, decreased defense on his A1. It is a 35% chance. 2-hitter here, decreased accuracy and a poison for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. So this guy's Spirit, he's got the decreased defense. This guy's a clan boss champion, it seems like. 1-hitter, 75% chance of placing Weaken, and heals this champion by 50% of the damage inflicted on a 3-turn cooldown. Definitely clan boss. Increased defense on this champion for 2 turns when their HP drops below 75%. And then places 50% increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns when their HP drops below 50%. Grants an extra turn when it drops below 10%. He's pretty cool too. How many more we got? We got like, oh my gosh. All right. I'll keep going real quick here. I'm gonna just glance over these last ones. I'm not gonna read through it. So decreased defense for him on the A1. HP burn and poisons as well for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. So another clan boss champion. For racking the fat. Oh, that's hilarious. They're just going for it now. This guy's just plain old the fat. Places an increased crit rate and increased crit damage on all allies except this champion for 3 turns. Then all allies except this champion will attack 1 target enemy on a 4-turn cooldown. Deflects 20% of incoming damage. Receives onto all allies. The damage will be spread equally across. That's a little bit weird. I don't know if I love that passive. But he seems pretty cool too. Duck the Pierced. The Fat the Pierced. Where's he pierced? All over? That's a decreased accuracy on his A1. Pretty cool. AoE decreased attack. Also 75% chance of placing decreased defense for each crit. So you build him with crit, you're going to get decreased attack and decreased defense on 100% chance on both of those. That's pretty good. Shrieking Display. Provoke. Another Provoker. But it's only a 1-hitter. 2 random. Okay, it can do I don't know if I like that. Reflect damage. He's okay. Ally defensive faction crypts. That guy seems the most unexciting to me in a way. Sanguinia. 3-hitter, 20% chance of decreasing the duration of 2 random buffs. Okay, not bad. Block debuffs on all allies and a continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. It's block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown. Block debuffs, most of these people have 4-turn cooldown, so that's actually huge, right? 1-hitter, 75% chance of transferring all debuffs from this champion to the target. Removes all debuffs from all allies except this champion. Wow, okay. So debuff, transfer, and cleanse. I like it. 4-turn and ally accuracy and Doom Tower battles by 55. Another good one. Old Hermit Yorg. Attacks one enemy, 30% chance of placing an HP burn for 2 turns. Then increase attack on allies for 2 turns and fills turn meter of allies by 20%. Revives 2 random allies with 60% HP, then fills their turn meter at 40% and places Perfect Veil on them for 2 turns. You could probably pair this guy with the other one, because although he's 5 turns on the Perfect Veil, maybe he leads with that ability. He seems okay. So far, he's a little underwhelming as far as the rest to go to me. And finally, we're on the last one, Ugo. Here's Ugo. All right, attacks one enemy, 35% chance of placing Leech for 2 turns. The chance increases by 5% for each enemy alive. So if you do on a clan boss, you're going to have a 40% chance of a Leech. AoE that does decreased defense for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, which you book up to 100%. Also, 75% chance of doing block buffs for 2 turns. The chance of placing the block buff debuff increases by 5% for each alive enemy. Okay. Removes all heal reduction debuffs from all allies, then removes 1 random debuff from all allies, then heals all allies by 20% of this champion's max HP. I mean, maybe for Ice Golem, that's what I'm thinking, like the heal reduction. I mean, why not just be a full cleanser? If all allies are dead, revives them with 50% HP, then fills their turn meter by 50% instead. But that means he's the only one alive. That's pretty RNG. Places increased speed and block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn whenever this champion last living ally is killed. Okay. He's interesting. I'm actually, the last 2 I'm probably the least excited about. But the rest of these, I got to admit, I'm actually impressed with all of them. So hopefully I get some of these and I can actually kind of showcase them a little bit coming up soon. So I'm going to end the video there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate all your support. Thank you so much for it. I'll be back soon with more Raid Shadow Legends content.